and management generally. So I don't know if I can be heard loud and clear.
Yes,
I
we
would like
can.
to. All right, thank you very much. So I will go straight to my assignments and hope that I'll be able to do justice within the time frame that I've been given, and that at the end of the day, I will be able to answer questions that might arise therefrom. With that introduction, I would like to say that my topic is actually the role of leadership, sorry, the role of relationship management in leadership. So we're looking at three things: relationship, management, and leadership. These are key uh, topics. Meanwhile, the focus of this, based on the theme, we're actually looking at leadership and relationship management. So my discussion points, I'm going to be discussing basically about 6 issues. I will introduce this topic. I will also talk about relationship management on its own. I'll talk about role of leadership in relationship management. We'll look at relationship management skills. What are the skills required to be able to manage relationships accurately, especially by leaders? Then what are the benefits of relationship management? Then I will conclude. Okay, let me start with a brief introduction to this discussion. It is important to note that modern day leaders have a lot of responsibility to carry out, especially because of the globalization trend, because of the developments taking place all over the world, because of the technological advancement, and so many things. There is more on the shoulders of leaders today than ever before. And like it's always said, everything rests on the shoulder of leadership. Without leadership, everything will go wrong. And sometimes we blame, people say the followers, the followers should be blamed because the leader came from the followers. But a recent situation or scenarios especially in the third world countries, will show that leaders, sometimes it is blaming followers is like blaming the victim, who is already a victim of bad leadership. So some leaders have a mind of their own, and like in political leadership, people go over out there and do whatever they want to do. They have advisors in their hundreds, but they don't even listen to the advisor, so they do whatever they want. At the end of the day, everything goes wrong. So whether political leadership, organizational leadership, religious leadership, traditional leadership, any kind of leadership requires that some level of relationship. Leaders need to be able to manage the relationship they have with their followers, with their staff, with their officials, and even with their advisors, so as to achieve the ultimate aim of which is success. So leaders have to understand how to impact. It's very important that beyond being a leader, one is there to make an impact, on the life of the followers, to make an impact that can be felt. Not just impact that can be felt, impact that can has a generational effect, just as we just discussed this morning. So generational effect is that leadership, or impact is that leadership that leaves a legacy on the sands of time. Leadership that has structures that can be seen, that can be felt even long after now. So it is a long-term achievement. We also need leaders who have influence. They have healthy influence, because of their ability to influence, healthy connection between themselves and others. Because leadership is all about influence. If one cannot influence others to follow, if it has to always be by coercion, it has to always be by compelling, by show of force, if it has to always be by manipulation, then that is not leadership. That is something else. But leadership is all about influence, like several people have said. And of course, they also need to understand how to build team spirit in all facets of relationship within an organization. Without a team, the leader is actually on a voyage of his own. And team spirit is very important. Let me just proceed so that I don't begin to discuss my message at the introductory point. But let me say that also, only by managing healthy relationship both at personal and professional level or organizational level, can people be able to find actual fulfillment, a sense of success, and of course, joy at home and at workplace? So leadership is required even at home, it's required at workplace and everywhere. And so people's sense of joy, fulfillment, and success is not guaranteed without a leadership that is healthy or that can manage relationships in a healthy way, you know. And then of course, it is important to also just state that the word managing here is not about manipulation, just as our host has just said. I remember the question just asked, Dr. Sobrana said something about the fact that manipulation is not basically what leadership entails. And so it's not about manipulation or controlling, but it's about influence, like I said earlier. So, what is relationship management? We're going into the discussion proper to see what relationship management is. What does it mean to manage a relationship in such a way that it can bring about the team spirit we're talking about? It can bring about success. It can bring about fulfillment. And it can also bring about joy or happiness by those who are involved in that organization or in that, at that home or whatever it is. Because the truth remains that if people don't have a sense of fulfillment, if they don't feel a sense of happiness, if they don't feel that what they're doing is worth doing, then it's either they are just in bondage or they are just, maybe they are just trapped somewhere. But and when people are trapped, the next thing they are looking for is an escape route. They'll be looking for how they can escape that, trap. And so relationship management is all about using your awareness of your own emotion. That is the leader now. His ability to use the awareness they already have of their own emotions and of those around them to be able to manage interactions, successfully. Their ability to, these emotions we are talking about, we're referring to emotional intelligence. That leaders are not just leaders, but they are managers, not just of things, not managers of finances, not managers of work schedules, but they are managers of relationships. They are managers of emotions, and everything rises and falls on emotional connection, either negative or positive. And when the connections are positive, what you have is positive outcome. But when the connection is negative, you tend to have a resultant effect, which at the end of the day goes contrary to the organizational value, the goal that the objective cannot be achieved. So relationship management also means the ability to have clear communication and effective handling of conflict. Conflict must arise, conflicts are bound to arise, but a leader that has a management skill is the one that is able to communicate, navigate through those issues clearly, understand that these issues are bound to occur, and then look at it from an empathic, and sympathetic point of view to understand the background issues. What are the causes? What are the root causes of all this, the acrimonies and the misunderstandings, and then the ability to handle them effectively in a professional, you know, and experienced manner is what makes the difference. So conflicts are bound to arise in any organization, but then, like I said, that is where leadership is required to steer through that course and bring about the desired result despite the misunderstanding. And sometimes misunderstandings are good. Sometimes when we talk about peace and conflict resolution, as a cause, we don't talk. We understand that conflicts are part of human existence. Conflicts are necessary. In fact, sometimes conflicts are beneficial because they help us understand ourselves better. Because after a conflict, it's like after a rain, there's supposed to be sunshine. So it is the bond that is built with others over time. This connection, this communication, this effective handling of conflict and everything, at the end of the day, it's expected to build a bond between the leadership, the organization, and of every other member who is part of that organization. Still talking about relationship management on page 6, I want to say that relationship management or managing relationship is much more than just being friendly. It's more than just being a nice person who is just who is outgoing and everyone likes you. It's beyond that. As a matter of fact, it is possible to be a nice, likable leader, but an ineffective one. You know, sometimes a leader, I can speak from my own experience as a university administrator, lecturer, and probably an administrator at my organization and all that. I know that sometimes a leader has to be tough and has to be tender. There are situations where you have to put people on their toes. That is, they are still managing that relationship because they have a relationship with you, and that relationship is an engagement. Is work relationship, work related. If it is the university, it's maybe student or my staff in the office. It is still work related, and so to achieve the aim why we're there, sometimes smiling all the time, being friendly will not solve the problem, because the idea of familiarity will set in. The idea of, so you always have to keep people on their toes while being friendly. You cannot expect them to predict you. You have to be unpredictable. That was the truth. You have to be nice, but at the same time, like I said, tough and tender at the same time. You know, because if you are just so tough all the time, that you cannot manage the relationship effectively. You will actually crush or put people on under tension. And when there's tension, people cannot achieve much. And if you're too friendly all the time or too tender, you will tend to make them lazy and probably irresponsible. And so a leader that must succeed is the one that can manage relationships, but much more than just being friendly, he also has to be balanced. Now, it takes immense effort and intention, of course, strategy to get the best from a situation, and of course, managing the way people respond. Now, there's something Rudy Giuliani actually said when he said that sometimes very different people will form a harmonious unit, while uh, people who might look, similar might not be able to bond. This is a very important statement, because so a leader has to understand that the fact that people might look different, because they said opposite attracts. So one of the things a leader can do to be able to create that bond, that understanding, to be able to manage that relationship, is to be able to understand psychology, the mix, how people relate, how members relate, and be able to, deal with it. Now, that is a brief I can say about relationship management from the angle of the leader. I would like to proceed to properly now to the role of leadership in relationship management. This is the crux of my discourse. This is the uh, the center, or I would say the kernel of what I have my topic right now. And so I will be dwelling a little bit on it for a couple of minutes before I talk about the next item. So what is the role of leadership in relationship management? All the while, we're trying to say that a leader is important. Leadership is necessary in being able to project, in being able to articulate, and of course, connect the leadership with the followership. That there is need for even the followership to build bond among themselves, to achieve team spirit, because without a team spirit, not much can be achieved, because where there's division, where there's the acrimony and there is tension, not much can be achieved. But now, the leader, beyond what we've just said, he also has, a role to play. These are intentional, critical, deliberate strategies or strategic measures that must be taken in order to achieve or to ensure that the relationship in any organization is well managed in such a way that the essence, like I said, is achieved. So the competencies of relationship management are often associated with the leadership, because These are obvious areas we typically associate with leadership. Leaders find ways to inspire and motivate by tapping into people's values and desires. No leader can actually manage relationship effectively if he does not inspire others and motivate them. And how do you do that? By tapping into their values and desires. One of the ways you can motivate someone, for instance, when you know what they like, what they are good at, what maybe their hobbies, you master their strengths and their weaknesses, and you are able to dwell on their strength. For instance, you have an employee who is good in IT, for instance, and he may not be good in other things, but he's good in IT. Now you inspire him when you get him the requisite devices, the gadget, even if it's a gift on his birthday, you just decide to spoil him with some gadgets, some gifts. Now, you are not just giving him a gift, you are building capacity in him, you are building competence in him. And next time you're given an assignment, you realize that he's likely to do better because he has been motivated. First, he was inspired by the gift, and now he's motivated to do, and you'll be surprised that that person is likely to give you results or assignments that you didn't even ask for. He's likely to be proactive in giving you suggestions on what needs to be done than even waiting for you to always tell him what to do. So that way your work becomes easier. So you've been able to manage that relationship not just by getting an employee to do what he's paid to do, but by making him go further outside the box to think for himself and to come up with solutions that are probably not contemplated in the first place. And that way, your organization is likely to achieve more success and all that. So by tapping into employees or your followers' values and their desires, their dreams, their goals, as long as it aligns with the organizational vision, you are more likely to achieve more. So, of course, it's also about finding ways to align with these needs of the business. Like I said, they have to align. So, another critical issue is the ability to use empathy and other emotional intelligence skills, you know, to build and maintain high level of trust. Without empathy, empathy simply means putting yourself in someone else's shoe. When leaders just drop instructions, when they just ask employees or followers to do what they themselves cannot do in that same condition of lack, condition of someone doesn't, like for instance, in Nigeria today, because of the removal of fuel subsidy, many people cannot go to work. Petroleum price have shot up. I mean, cost of transportation has gone up. Even those who have cars are parking them at home and trying to take, commercial vehicle, which is also exorbitant. And then you tell someone who is, let's say, a junior civil servant group, let's say, levels 4 or 5, who is earning a paltry, meager, and miserable minimum wage of about 30,000 naira, which some states have even refused to pay. And then you expect that person to pay about, let's say from Abuja, from where I stay in Abuja to the secretariat, federal secretariat, is some people pay 500 to 700 naira. So to and fro, you're paying 1,400 naira. Now, if you put that together in a month, someone will have to, so in a day, someone is spending over 1,000 naira. By the end of the month, the person probably will spend almost 40 to 50,000 naira on the road. Where meanwhile, that exceeds his salary. And so that person is working for you, whose transport fare alone, not talk about accommodation, not talk about other bills or feeding. That person works for you in that kind of situation, and you expect the person to come to work 5 times in a week, without thinking of increasing the pay. And then the day the person fails to come, you as a leader decides to query, sanction, and even threaten to dismiss that person in the name that, or that there are a lot of people looking for job, and if they are not interested, there are 1,001 others who will take up the job. Now, that is not empathetic. That is simply being wicked. That is simply being manipulative. And if not worse, it's all about being, it's about being exploitative. It is slavery. Slavery is when people are forced to do what they is not convenient for them to do, but they have to do because of the fear, either fear of being manipulated with hunger or lack, or fear of, because financial lack, because okay, hunger has been weaponized, brokenness or lack of money has been weaponized. So the fear of not having another job is one of the reasons why a lot of people work. And so it is a 21st century slavery mentality that is ongoing. So it is important to use empathy by putting yourself in the person's shoe and using emotional intelligence skills to be able to build and maintain high level of trust. Because when the person or the follower or whoever it is knows that you have their interest at heart, that you feel they are hurt where it hurts the most, and that you are concerned that when they are sick, you are able to empathize with them, you're able to visit them. You don't feel too big that as the boss, I cannot go to their miserable apartment, I can't visit them in the hospital, you know. So if by the time you're able to put yourself in their shoes, you're able to feel for them and even help them when they need help the most, you have built trust. So you have gone beyond that boss servant relationship to a, you know, a more of a brotherly, even though the responsibility, the official, the formalities must be maintained to avoid from familiarity, but then that empathy, that emotional intelligence will help you to balance. Like I said, being able to balance it is key. So leaders who expand their personal competence of self-awareness and self-management can also outshine at social competence. That is, they need to have listening skill, the ability to listen to others. It's not just hearing them, but listening. And there is a difference between these two. Sometimes you're talking to someone, when you're listening to someone, you're just getting information. When you're hearing someone, you're just getting information. But when you listen, you are getting, you know, the message. The message is different from the information. Message is deeper. Message means you have gotten the idea they are trying to pass across, and that you have actually feeling, you are feeling what they're saying. And of course, empathy, like I said, it's putting yourself in their shoe. And then people's skill, the ability to build people's skills, that is how to relate with people in a way that you minimize hurting them, minimizes conflict, and it minimizes, you know, without making them feel that they are exploited. There's a way you can make people do things happily, not just doing it because they are told, but doing it happily. And of course, you know, and they would like to do it. And if there's a way you can inspire people to do something in such a way that even when you don't ask them to do it, they want to do it. Even when you say don't, they would like to do it, because at this level, they're not just trying to please you, but it's what makes them happy. So, what kind of people skill do we have that can make people even do more than what they are asked to do? What people skill can we develop that will make people feel that they are actually, by working for us, they're actually working for themselves? It's not slavery. It's not just because of the pay. That even without the pay, they don't mind sacrificing. That even without the pay, they don't mind being part of it because of the joy they derive, the sense of belonging they tend to have, the feeling of mutuality, the feeling of equality, that are not made to feel like they are slaves, and so their life depends on it. No, but that they have a sense, it's like a family. You know, wherever they find themselves, it's like a family. And so, as long as you can't run away from your family, you also feel like you can't do without this organization. You can't do without this person, this leader. That basically is a very important skill to cultivate. Now, by leveraging this personal and social competency, a leader can build long-term, strong, and trusting relationship at the organization and even external stakeholders level. This is very important. Now, let me go to the idea of relationship management skills. That is page 10. I have discussed everything I've said revolves around one thing: leadership, relationship management. These two things, leadership and relationship management. Let me start with the quote by Zig Ziglar when he said, if people like you, that if people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. Business here can be anything. They will relate with you. They will want to work with you. They will, So relationship management skills are those skills that must be acquired. Skills are acquired. No one is born with skills. If you are born with it, then it's a talent, it's a gift. But even those who are not born with it can acquire it. So skills are basically acquired, and it means everyone can have it, everyone can build it, everyone can develop it. And when we talk about leadership here, I don't think that anyone listening to me consider himself as being a follower all the time. We all lead at one point or the other. You are first a leader of yourself. Then, if you have a family, you are a leader of your family. If you're a male or a female, that is the husband or the wife. If you work in an organization, then you are a leader. Maybe you are a leader in your own unit. You maybe not be the overall boss, but you are a leader at some point, at some level. And so, these skills required by everyone, and everyone can actually acquire them. One of these skills is assertive communication. So, to build healthy relationship management skill, a leader must know how to communicate assertively. I did say something about being tender and being tough. This is when you need to be tough. This is when you say yes, it should be yes. This is where when you give an instruction, it must be followed and implemented to the latter. Any leader that gives an instruction and it has to keep repeating the same thing, that is beginning to sound like a nagging, is not a leader. That leader is not revered. It doesn't have to be feared, but has to be respected. And where there's respect, which is also mutual, then there must be obedience. So one of the skills is the ability to be assertive in communication. So that means you are not it's not suggestive communication. It's not advice. It's not like trying to. It is about giving an order or giving instructions that you insist on its implementation with immediate alacrity. And so assertive communication is very important in building relationship management. Of course, decision making. So indecision does not make a leader. Indecision will make your followers think that you don't know what you want. It will make them feel like it can confuse them. They wouldn't even know what to do. So a leader that will be trusted is the one that is can decide is this. And of course, adaptability. One of the abilities to manage relationship as a leader is the ability to adapt. This adaptability talks about, when we talk about like empathy the other time, we were saying that things might not always go as planned, with the ability to adapt and understand with the situation. So for instance, someone is unable to come to work because of hike in transportation fare and he has not been paid. You haven't paid him, and you are insisting that he must have been to work. Now, the ability to adapt and understand in some situation will actually engender a better relationship in that organization. Problem solving skill is very important. Then the ability to inspire. I've talked about all this. Now, experts have actually said that relationship management involves a few number of things. One of them is interpersonal communication skill, ability to inspire and influence them, which is basically a repetition of what I've been saying. Then competence to communicate and build bonds with them, and then capacity to help them to change.
Can I know
to
where the slides, please?
I'm on 11.
Okay. I just don't want to miss out. Okay, thank you.
So I started by saying experts actually opine that relationship management involves a number of things. One of them is interpersonal communication, which I've said already, ability to inspire and influence them, which I've also discussed. Then competence to communicate and build bonds with them. And of course, the capacity to help them change, grow, develop, and resolve conflicts. Let me talk about change. Now, one of the tasks of a leader is not just to issue out instructions and give commands, but is to make sure that there is change in the lives of those you work with. This change might be physical, might be material, it may be. But the thing is, people should not leave us the way they met us. People should not always remain the same after meeting us. People's life should be influenced in such a way. What is the essence of influence and inspiration and motivation if they cannot change, if they cannot see our leadership skill or style and want to be like us, if they cannot emulate something about us, if they cannot drop some habits they came with, if they cannot be better? It's all about improvement, about being better. And so a leader's relationship with his followers would involve his capacity to help them. It's about helping them. It's beyond, it's not about what they just do, what it's not just about what they do for you. It's not just even about the pay, but it's about the fact that they need to become better, they need to grow, they need to have their lives have to at least be better. Let them leave you better than they met you. Let them develop in other areas of their life. Let them develop competence, the same skill you're acquiring. Let them go for the trainings. Let them have access to go for conferences. Let them also read books. Help them, encourage them, buy books for them. You know, give them the platform, the devices, the opportunities to learn new things and to learn on the job as well. Because the truth is, uh, they will not they will not remain with you probably forever, and you might not be on the job forever. You need people who will succeed you. You need to build legacy. You need to encourage others to also grow so that in your absence they can take over. We just heard that the young people are taking over. Young people are leaders of today, not tomorrow. You know, the youth are leaders of today in partnership with the older ones, and it is the children, is the children that are leaders of tomorrow. But the youth are leaders of today. You know, and so they have to be mentored, they have to be encouraged, they have to be inspired. But the truth is,
Hello.
responsibility, that person is shying from leadership. And by shying from leadership, it means the person is not prepared. And so you can't be a leader of today or leader of tomorrow when you shy from responsibility. So we have people who are even elders who are shy, who don't take their responsibilities, you know, who don't answer to some cause in their lives. That is shying from responsibility. So they cannot be leaders. You know, so young people need to start being built, being mentored, being developed, being helped to grow and accept responsibilities and do stuff even when it is not being, you know, when people emphasize money all the time, they mortgage their destiny, they mortgage their development, their change. You know, so young people must be told that in the process of acquiring knowledge, in the process of being mentored and all that, money is not always the end of the matter, and that in fact it should be the last thing in their minds. I'm saying that because a lot of people have a lot of opportunity to connect, to grow, to develop uh, by being built in terms of capacity through some leaders just because they were expecting to be paid all the time, or they were expecting something different. So when material and financial gain becomes the motive for everything, young people will tend to lose out of the benefits they stand to gain. Now, so they also need to be told how to develop, how to resolve conflict. So let me say that one of the things that discourages or that makes for poor relationship management is gossip at the workplace. Where there is gossip, where there is acrimony, where there are you know, bad blood, generally it affects leadership or relationship management and makes a caricature of the whole leadership. Who I mean, it makes the relationship toxic. So building relationship management skills requires that the leader keeps on practicing the skills, and as well, and of course, all it takes is time, effort, and know-how. It's a matter of time. The more you keep doing it, the more you keep practicing it, the better you become. So, but then the know-how is we're talking about here is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is a topic, is a subject of its own, which we don't have all the time to talk about. I'm just deferring, or let me say, I'm just referring to it or alluding to it in passing, because we can't really do justice to it right now. But just to say that it is also part of the relationship management skill process. I will go on to discuss the benefits of relationship management. I know I've taken some time I should be rounding up very soon. But let me talk about the benefit. What are the benefits of relationship management? There are several of these benefits or advantages of relationship management. One of them is that it helps to engender trust among the team, and of course, both inside and outside. That is both the stakeholders and those outside. Of course, also have to focus on solution. When you are building relationship, when you are able to manage a relationship in such a way that it is progressive, then solution is gotten instead of where there is distraction and then diversion of ideas because of gossip, and people that have the best of ideas will not bring them. Some will hide their whatever they have because there's no unity, they are not appreciated, or because they feel that it is no need. So one of the advantages also is speedy implementation. Where there's focus, then ideas, instructions, things will be implemented speedily without waste of time. Of course, easy navigation in the dynamic micro and macro business environment, improve customer service. There'll be promotion, or it will promote an innovative culture. That, like I said, people will be innovative. They will think, outside the box. In fact, they'll think like there's no box, and then they'll be able to come up with solution-driven ideas that probably were not contemplated. There'll be a reduction in employee turnover, and of course, healthy emotional climate in the organization. These are some advantages. Now, I want to end with some quote or some helpful tips by somebody Sabsek, which is very crucial to my discussion here. It's just tips on how to manage relationship very well as a leader based on the skills we discussed. One of them is that you should try to be helpful and grateful. Is to come back to you to surprise you. Of course, also find out what you want and who can give. What do you want? Who do you think can give? You should know the strength and weakness of your followers or your employees to be able to know what you're looking for and who among them has the skills, what they want and care about. What do they want? And how and what can I do first for them? You have to do for them, then expect them to do for you. So it's all about motivating them again. It's all about incentivizing them. When people are incentivized, some organizations have 13 months, or they have some bonuses, they have some kickbacks. All these are forms of motivation that will help employees to want to give out their best and if possible give out more than is expected. Also, being obsessively interested in other people, find out their interests and hobbies, stay in touch. When face to face, pay in undivided attention with eye contact. Listen as if your life depends on it. Don't interrupt. Ask another related question. Don't shift topic to yourself. This is basically trying to say that beyond trying to hype people or trying to make people or patronize people, we must make them feel special. Show interest, genuine interest in them. When you do that, they will know that you genuinely care. And then when care is noticed, then they will also want to show the care. And how will they show the care? By making sure that your enterprise, your business, or your organization succeeds in whatever it's doing. Now, paying attention to the phone instead of the person in front of you is the ultimate insult and makes you look like a self-absorbed. I won't use this word, but that is what it is. Now, being 5 minutes early is on time is okay. Showing up right on time or late is late. It shows a lack of respect for the other person or people. So some leaders will expect you to come to work at so time, but they come, so leadership by example is basically what it is. Respecting people's time is very important. Smiling more often than you do will also help. You feel better and others react to you more favorably. But you see, some people have this culture of not smiling at all, and some smile once in a year, some don't even smile at all, and that hampers on your ability to lead effectively. When someone hardly smiles, it gives the impression that they are either wicked, that is the general impression, or they don't have feelings, or they are just unnecessarily dogmatic and legalistic and probably boring. and uninteresting and all the negatives. There's nothing positive about it. All right, so it puts people under tension and it makes them almost afraid all the time, and they don't always look forward to meeting you because your impression, your expression, your your demeanor actually puts them off. It makes them want to take cover. And so smiling often is not like always, smiling from jaw to jaw like some, zombie, or but it's all about smiling for the right reasons and then making people feel happy, and a sense of warmth around you will build that trust and help people to want to be like you, to want to follow you, to want to listen to you, and want to do as you say. Thank you very much for this. I would like to stop here on this note. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing teaching from Professor Dr. King James Nkum. Thank you so much, even though you are on your way to do some other things, but we still learn. Yes, we didn't see your face, but you still share some valuable things today. And we really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Welcome,
sir.
man. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
I was looking at all our contributors, and they are still thinking about their questions. So hopefully I'll be able to send their questions to you whenever they are ready. And you've answered some of my questions here that I wanted to ask. You've already answered it, and I was nodding my head. I say, yes, yes, yes. It's true, it's true. Especially towards the end of it. I really like the way you've said it, especially in terms of the role of the benefits of relationship management, and also the role, because it's very important that we're not just talking, but we need to remind ourselves the role, especially long-term and the strong term. We need to know how are we contributing, because if we are going to help others, especially the young generation, you also need to look at yourself. Do you have what it takes to be able to pass down to them? Is there anything that they will influence, that you will influence them, or they will be influenced? Is there any other things that they will ask, or they will benefit from you? So these are the things that we are coming together to share. And you've already tabled everything: assertive communication, decision making, adaptability, problem solving, inspiring leaders, and maybe I could add something or two: approachable, because leaders need to be approachable if you really want to serve people. And another thing is humility. We have to humble ourselves, because there's so many of us, because of the position we hold, we're so arrogant, we're so unapproachable, we are not flexible enough, we're not ready to listen to the youth. You know what I'm talking about with Dr. Nkum, especially from Africa. Sometimes we feel like we've reached, like there was a play I was watching long time ago, when they just refer themselves as a baby lawyer, the big lawyer. And I'm thinking, lawyer is law. You write and they write. The only difference is the experience. So you don't put them down. Yes, they might not have the amount of experience you have, but then calling somebody baby lawyer, that doesn't motivate, that doesn't inspire.
It's insulting.
I mean, you spend maybe 7 years, if I'm correct, because you have 5 years in university, and after that, you go for bar school. You understand? So they went through all that as well. So the only difference is the experience. And that is the main reason that instead of you calling them baby lawyer, why don't you involve them? Because they have the energy, they have the updated knowledge. You
Right.
understand? Maybe you've been graduated from law maybe about 20 years ago, but I'm sure the law changes every day, isn't it, my lawyer?
Very. Yes. Yes,
Exactly,
please.
exactly. So that is why we need to involve both the old and the young together. We learn from them, their energy, their new ideas, and then they learn from our wisdom, from our experience. And then that makes it to be unique, isn't it? I mean, like, for example, we also say something like both the old and the young, they built the place. Yes, because there's an idea that the old ones will bring to the table. There's an idea that the young ones will also put on the table. And I also like the idea that previous of our speakers in our conferences have already said it, that yes, the older one might have wisdom and experience, but the younger ones have the energy to keep us going, isn't
That's
it?
true.
So it's very
That's true.
important that we build this assertive communication, decision making. Sometimes we make some decisions and we neglect the women, the youth, but we need to involve them. I
That's
mean,
true.
like, for example, adaptation, you have to be ready to adapt to change because there is always change every day. I mean, say, for instance, the way we do things before COVID pandemic is different now.
Yes.
Majority of the business has been turned to online. So if you are the kind of person saying, oh, I can't do anything with online, so that means you are missing out. For
A lot
example,
of things.
I might be in my own room and be transacting money from one country to the other. I might be
Yes.
here, like I'm here in UK, my professor is in Nigeria, but we're still communicating. So that is what has changed. I don't need to travel every minute to go to Nigeria or to go to India for me to go
Yes.
for conferences or seminar. So we have to adapt to that change. And that is what we're talking about. And then you say
Yes.
inspiring. Yes. I'm glad that you heard me when I asked that question from our previous speaker, because I'm beginning to understand some things. Is it manipulating or is it inspiring? Or is it influencing? Because if all what we want to do is to manipulate this youth, believe it or not, they are smarter than that. Because they will get you out. They will know when you are lying to them. They will know when you are trying to impose your beliefs into them. But then, if we go it on a lower ground and said, okay, this is what I have done, see if you can learn from it. And I think some of them will be reasonable to say, oh yes, I think I can reason it. You know, even the Bible, remember when God is creating heaven and the earth, remember he always say, let us make man in our own image. So it's not dictative God, the dictator God. You understand? He also bring along and say, let us reason together. Let us
Yes.
make man in his own image. Let us. You can see that that is the right way for us to guide. We don't make ourselves as what do you call it now? You don't make yourself as the one on top. You have to look down. You have to embrace and work as a team. And these are the things that I'm learning from your valuable teaching, because it's very
Okay.
important that we learn it. First of all, I want to apologize for our typo error. When I look at it, I say it doesn't make sense.
Sorry.
Leadership management to leadership is supposed to be relationship and management. So sorry about that, but we will make sure that we change everything around. You know, sometimes we
Right.
make mistake, but we still learn from our mistake. I just
That's
saw it and say, oh my God, that is a big mistake. But am I allowed to make mistake?
yes, please.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure. Oh, sure. And then we learn from it. Okay.
That's
So thank you so much for sharing your valuable
okay.
wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and experience, especially as a lawyer and also as a lawyer, as a lecturer in university, and also the founder of Kingsland Organization, and also a great world speaker. And I want to say we've enjoyed your messages today. I like the way you said, but know how is emotional intelligence, because we need to know. Because some of us, we need to know. We need to know all these things. That is why we are creating this platform and many, many more platforms that other organizations are also creating, so that we keep learning. Remember, I said something that mindset is everything. Yes, it's what I can give you the 101 reasons why mindset is everything. But then we need to now grow that mindset. The only way to grow that mindset is to keep learning. And that is why we're here inviting all our world great leaders to share their knowledge so that we can gain more knowledge and also grow and renew our mindset for transformation. So I want this, I know you are on your transit, you are traveling from other, but we want to say thank you so much, sir, for honoring our invitation and also giving us your valuable knowledge. Thank you. We appreciate you, sir. And like I said, if I get any other questions, I will send those questions to you. Many of them are saying, thank you so much. Greetings from Malaysia, greetings from India, greetings from Croatia, greetings from Georgia. So you can see so many people. Greetings from where's that place? Okay, God, Georgia as well. So you can see that so many people have tuned in to listen to you, and they've learned one thing or the other. So I want to say thank you for coming, and may God bless you. Thank you. Okay, now we can move on to the next speaker. Well, let me first of all check if Professor Patricia Golde, are you in the building?
Yes, I am.
Oh, wow. Oh, you're feeling cold. Are you okay?
It's cold. Yeah, it's winter season.
Ah, wow, wow,
Yes, yes, yes. I
wow.
was out in the cold there. Yes.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know you joined earlier on, and both of us have really listened to Professor Dr. King James as he's
Thank
sharing with
you.
us his.
I don't know whether it's my line, it's a bad connection or not. I don't know whether you can hear me properly.
I can hear you clearly. I can see your beautiful face. Yes. So we're just going to continue. Yes, we're just going to continue, and feel free, sir, if you still want to be with us for the next section, or if you want to continue with your journey freely, and you can still join us on the Facebook Live. But if you can still be with us on this platform. This will be our last section for today anyway, so we hope to finish as soon as possible. But that doesn't mean Dr. Patrick will not give us the halfway. You have to give us the full lecture. So we are waiting. This is not a conference, this is masterclass. So I believe you've prepared for at least 45 to 50 minutes. But before then, let me quickly go on to my, okay. So let's go on to that. Let me